Hello adventurers, and welcome back to another Black Desert mobile video. In this one I'll be taking a look at the Land of the Morning Light to give my thoughts on the new continent. This content has been out for a week, but I wanted to introduce the new area in case you haven't had a chance to start it yet. I'll also be going over the updates, the tales, new bosses, and the Dawnveil Gear. So this will be kind of like an overall overview of the new continent and all the new content that we have. So this one might be kind of long, so if you're interested in a specific topic, I highly recommend using the timestamps in the description below, but with that being said, let's jump right into it. So the Land of the Morning Light is a new continent modeled and inspired by Korea's Joseon era. The music, terrain, objects, and people were all designed in a way to capture the essence of this medieval Korea, and I truly do believe that they nailed the concept. Like you can tell, like there was a lot of thought and effort put into everything that they were doing. The music is wonderful. Like there's a lot of different types of music that they have. The boss music is really good, but then also there's some calm, relaxing, peaceful music whenever you're just roaming the land. So everything that they did for it, 10 out of 10. I love this update. But also I think that the landscape, the architecture, everything was crafted in a way that the area really reminded me that I'm playing a fantasy game. And it truly does transport me to another world. I know that's kind of cheesy to say, but I just like the way that Black Desert Mobile looks in general, but then especially with this new area, it changes everything that we've had so far and gives us a new change of pace. So it feels really refreshing as well. Before I continue, I did also want to say, if you haven't already, please check out the developers' full commentary on the updates. They cover everything that I kind of just talked about, but in way more detail. And it truly paints a picture of like what they were doing behind the scenes, what their thought process was, and it makes it feel a lot more impactful. So I'll have the link in the description for that as well. So the land is very vast and it's similar in size to the Great Desert and Everfrost region, but it never really feels like you need to rush or stress about doing certain things. There's like a really limited number of tasks that you actually need to do. And even that doesn't take like a crazy amount of time, but then also it doesn't add a lot of workload to what your weekly tasks are. So it's a very refreshing update and it doesn't feel overwhelming or overbearing where you have to do some certain piece of content. And even for that piece of content, it's weekly and it's not a lot. So I think that they did this really well. And honestly, again, the list of activities that you need to do and all the new tasks that you need to do, they're fairly short, so I encourage taking your time and enjoy the stories that are being told here. Their storytelling for this region is very unique. They haven't taken this approach before, or at least they have, but this is where I think that they really nailed it. So the gameplay in this region is very unique because it revolves around different tales and bosses, and that makes the experience all the more rich and refreshing. So to start your journey, you need to do the first tale opening. So if you open up your menu and you go to land, you'll have these tale collections, Black Shrine, and World Map. You'll click this first one, and then you'll do opening. So this is what's gonna actually give you access to it. And this is a very quick and easy story to complete, and it will quickly give you access to the region. You barely have to do anything and you can get to the region. So any new player can come here. So I think that that was something very smart. This new content is new for everyone, and it's nice to see that it's not locked behind a CP wall. And by CP wall, I mean like you don't have to do like a crazy amount of stories, or you don't have to have like 40,000 CP just to unlock it. So this is actually something that I think the Land of the Morning Light does really well as a whole. The content can be done by new accounts, and the gameplay is balanced in a way that new and old players feel similar in strength. I think that's kind of like a step in the right direction, but then also this might be jumping ahead a little bit, but the new bosses in this region are a great example as to why this is balanced gameplay, because the CP for a player contributes to maybe like 10% of your performance, and then 90% kind of is contributed to an energy system, which is kind of new. So it's nice to see that, because this means that your CP will not be able to power you through difficult content, and instead it will truly challenge all players to progress. I think that they tried something similar with Trials of Ator, But this time, I really do think that they 100% hit the mark on it. So this is a great balance. It feels like you have to have more skill expression. You have to have better mechanics. So overall, like 10 out of 10. It's great. So going back to the tales though, you will have 4 tales to complete after you've completed the opening story. So here in Tales, you'll have the Mudang Wraith, Gumiho, Songakshi, and Golden Pig King. So you can do the tales in any order, but once you've started, you will not be able to cancel the quest. So make sure that you follow through. Each tale is unique. And again, I highly encourage reading and watching through the whole tale. If you've already completed the tales and skipped through, you can always go back and reread the story, but I will also be uploading full cuts of these tales from start to finish without skipping, and I'll also be listening to all of the dialogue. So this is actually really cool because each one of these stories is fully dubbed. They have it in Korean, they have it in English, and I think they're doing like Mandarin and other languages. So that was awesome to hear. And then also something else is I've always wanted to listen to all of the stories or at least read through them, but I feel so rushed, especially on my main account, because I never have the patience to, and I feel like it's always kind of like a race to get it done so that way I can do the new content, so that way I can power up my account. But on my new account, I was really able to sit back and take it all in. So it was a really refreshing experience, and honestly, it made me love this game all the more. So the tales of the bosses are also really cool because they're based on mysterious folklore in Korea. So to me, that made it feel a little bit more interesting. It made it feel kind of real to me. So again, the bosses that we'll be facing are Bari, Gumiho, Songakshi, and the Golden Pig King. So each one of them is a little bit different. With each tale, you'll eventually come to a crossroad where you must choose how you want to proceed with the story. So normally it's either like kill the monster or like do something to help like redeem it. This is something pretty unique with these tales because they've never had this before in the game, and it's something new that they've introduced, and I think that this was definitely a step in the right direction. It helps to get people more involved in the story and a little bit more invested as well. So once you've completed these 4 extra tales, you'll unlock Black Shrine, where you can meet the monsters again. So these are all the same monsters that you previously faced in these stories, and you'll challenge them as calamities. Each calamity is a different difficulty, but I'll get a little bit more into that here in a second. So I will say that they seem fairly easy and simple at first, but the higher the difficulty gets, the more difficult it gets, obviously, but it requires you to have a lot better timing of your skills, and then also you need to dodge a lot more precisely. And then there comes in an element of strategy where you are using these energy resources to power up your character and kind of get you through this. So this circles back to my praise of balancing the gameplay. I believe this content shows a lot more skill expression, and it does a really good job of leveling the playing field for all players. I'm going to go over each one of the bosses first, then I'll explain more information of the difficulties and energy, as well as my recommendations for energy distribution. So I'll be making a guide for each one of these bosses, but for now, I'll briefly explain each one of them. And just as a quick heads up, some of these attacks that I list only appear once you've gotten to Calamity 3, and honestly, I haven't done Calamity 5 for any of the bosses, so I'm not sure what they look like yet. So again, this will be brief, but I'll cover as much as I can. So the first one is going to be Bari. So Bari typically attacks at a distance and will flee when you're nearby. She will also use the ranged attack that looks like a needle, which deals a lot of damage, but while she's doing that, she also teleports around. So what I recommend is dodging those needles while you're also trying to close the gap, but because she is teleporting, honestly, what I do is just kind of wait until she's done firing, but dodge at the best of my ability. And then at a certain HP, Bari will flee to the tree, and then she'll also summon some servile wraiths. The wraiths will target you and stun you on explosion, so when they're nearby, just kind of either kill them or avoid them. And then again, at a certain HP, Bari will summon a great general, which will also attack you, but the general can be destroyed whenever you attack the Dongsan tree. So it's up to you if you want to just ignore the general or just finish off Bari. At the earlier stages, I just attacked Bari. As you can see, I'm still only on difficulty 3, but I'll probably end up clearing that today. So Moving on, we have Gumiho. Gumiho uses her tails to attack you and can also make a barrier using her tails. So whenever she does that, you have to get behind her and attack her from like the base of her tails. If you don't break the barrier in time, there's going to be a circle that she creates, and that does a lot of damage. So either run away from that circle, lure her away, or just break the barrier in time. So Gumiho can occasionally jump in the air and she'll stomp on you. This will kind of knock you down and also do a lot of damage. So try to time your dodges for pretty much any of these attacks, or use like super armor skills or anything like that. So do your best to avoid and then also guard against that. So she'll also do an attack where she charges at you. She kind of like runs all around the screen. If you get hit by that, you will get knocked down. And once again, that's a lot of damage. I kind of found that like dodging into her makes her stop immediately. So I'm not 100% sure how that works exactly. All I know is it's a pretty good time save for me if she does that multiple times and I get her to stop immediately. So you might want to try that out. And then at a certain HP, Gumiho will release Foxfires, and those Foxfires will follow you around the map. And then if you get hit by them, you'll be stunned and you'll be damaged. So do try to avoid those or like blow them all up at once. But then again, at a certain HP, she will create these specters, which will participate in the battle. So they'll hit you just like Gumiho does, but eventually they kind of go away. And then every now and then that'll happen. So it'll happen twice within the fight. So lastly, one more thing. She can also make a massive blast area where she kind of like disappears, jumps away, but then she comes back down and there's a huge blue circle. Do your best to avoid that. I just go all the way to the outside of the circle, and then I go back in towards her. And then as you can see, I'm on Calamity 5 for her, so I have her down pretty well, but the last one's a little bit difficult, and I'm having to change my energy points as well. But again, I'll get into that here in a second. So the next one, I have very limited information on her. I haven't done her enough, so I'll go a lot more into detail on her whenever I do the designated guide for her specifically. But for now, Songakshi, she moves around the field summoning specters. If the specters aren't defeated, they'll inflict debuffs on you. So you have to either defeat the specters really quickly, or you have to kill Songakshi really quickly. The specters die really easily, so honestly, what I would suggest is just kill the specters, and you shouldn't really have that much of an issue. But other than that, she's not too hard, or at least I haven't tried to go past Calamity 3 for her yet, so hopefully I'll have more information on her pretty soon. The last boss that we have is the Golden Pig King. So the Golden Pig King has a circle that you must stay inside to fight. So he has a flaming sword that deals massive damage and is hard to dodge through his body. So he's like a boulder basically. Like you can't dodge through solid objects sometimes, and he's a solid object. So in my experience, it's really tough to dodge for him. You have to like dodge to the side or like use something to go around him. But his attack patterns are pretty simple. They're not too difficult to pick up on. So after you play it a few times, just kind of watch out for like what he does for each one, and you'll have like a pretty decent amount of time to throw in attacks while he's doing certain things. Once he gets to around 15 bars of health, he will do an explosion, which is the size of the circle that you need to stay inside of. Just leave and then re-enter the circle after the explosion. And then again, around 10 bars, he'll do something similar, but this time with 3 explosions. So again, just wait on the outside of the circle, and then once he's done, go back in. At 5 bars, he'll greatly empower his attack. So he'll like send out blue flames. That attack can like one-shot you. So you either have to like dodge it, or you have to have like the revive thing. What I would do, which this is kind of like, maybe this is a noob tip, use your Black Spirit skill. You'll completely dodge it and then just kind of stay in the circle after that. If you leave the circle too many times or you take too long, the pig will sit down and he'll heal himself. So try not to leave the circle too many times, only leave when you need to, and try to stay like close quarters to him. He mostly attacks like in front of him, so if you can get behind him, just try to do that. But then also, in my experience, is if you leave the circle too many times, he'll also do that empowered blue fire attack earlier, which you definitely don't want to activate that early because it's tough to get through. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the bosses. And again, just as a reminder, I will be doing guides for each one of these. And then just a little bit more information on Black Shrines in general. So the bosses include Calamity levels, which can increase the difficulty. So for now we have Calamity 1 through 5, but it's expected that we'll get up to level 10. So while facing these bosses, you have access to an energy system, which will give you different bonuses and effects while fighting the bosses. So according to the developers, the energy system will contribute around 90% of your performance, and then 10% of it will be your CP. So you can obtain energy every time that you clear a difficulty of one of these bosses. And then these energies can stack up to 10 points. So every time that you defeat one of these, you'll get 1 energy point. So do like Calamity 1 for each one of these, and then you'll end up with 4 energy points. But once you have these points, you can choose to put your points in either AP, DP, max HP, reduce evasion cooldown, recover HP when attacking, and revive in Black Shrine. So again, I highly recommend fighting Calamity 1 for each one of these bosses, and then build up your points. That will kind of make Calamity 2 a little bit easier, and then once you get to it, Calamity 3 will be a bit easier, and hopefully you'll have like close to max energy where it'll make it pretty simple for you. I say simple, but Calamity 3 is actually pretty tough. So just a quick heads up, you can only do 5 runs per week, but you can also purchase some more passes in the Pearl Shop. So you can buy them with either Black Pearls or normal Pearls. I highly recommend just do the Black Pearl ones. I wouldn't pay money for this. It's not like a crazy increase, so just stick to the Black Pearls. But you'll just go to the Pearl Shop, go to Miscellaneous, go to etc. And then normally it'll be right here, but because I already bought mine, it's over here. So there's a weekly limit of 2. And this is really going to help you with getting some of these extra energy points early on, but then also like it'll give you better rewards. So I think it's definitely worth paying the Black Pearls for it. So for the energy, I highly recommend putting more points into your AP, and then having 1 point in your revive, and then 1 point in your HP when attacking. These are really good. So this is like a free revive where if you go to where you would have died, you just instantly gain 10% of your max HP, and then you can just continue the fight. So that's really good. But then also this HP upon attacking is really good because you get a % of your HP every 3 seconds back. You have to hit to actually get that, but it's still really good. So again, like I recommend the AP just because you need to be doing a decent amount of damage. I have my setup like this because I know that I don't get hit very often, but sometimes you'll need to put a little bit more on DP, or like you might want an extra one of these revives. For me though, because I'm trying Calamity 5 of Gumiho, something that really gets in the way for me is like I'm not doing enough damage. So that's the main reason why I have AP. You just have to play pretty perfectly and like dodge everything. Don't get hit by anything. So again, the stats that I recommend are do like 6, 2, 1, and then 1. And then if you ever want to reset your energy, all you have to do is click reset, and you'll have to pay stamina to reset all of these points. So it's only 100 stamina, so it's not a crazy amount. But yeah, play around with it, see what you like, see what you don't like. It'll kind of change based on your play style, but for the most part, I don't want to say this is like the best thing to do, but this is like the best thing that I've found so far. Also, there are different auras for these bosses, so every week one of the auras will be weakened, so it'll make the boss a little bit easier for you to complete. So as you can see, there is an Earth aura, there is also a Moon aura, and I think this is a Sun aura. The Moon ones, you can do it for body, and then also Songakshi. So you can try to do them like at the same time. For the Gumiho and then for the Golden Pig, they're different. So just kind of keep that in mind. The one that I would try to do for that week is definitely the one that's weakened. So this is probably why I got to Calamity 5, is just because it's weakened. But also, whenever you complete a difficulty for the first time, you'll also get these lists of rewards. So difficulty 1, you'll get one of these Embers of Hongik. Difficulty 2, you'll get another one. Difficulty 3, you'll get 2. Difficulty 4, you'll get another 2. And then difficulty 5, you'll get 3. So these are really good. You get them for each one of these. So again, these bosses are not only challenging, but they're also really rewarding. So you'll get various items to help your progression. So as you can see here, these are the rewards that you can get. You'll get this pretty much guaranteed every time, except for these two right here, which is the flame and the embers. So it's possible to get them, but it's not guaranteed and it's at a really low chance. I think the embers get kind of a little bit more consistent. The higher that your calamity level is, or the difficulty that you're doing, the higher the chance that you'll get these embers and also the flame. So just kind of keep that in mind. But the rewards change for people that are below Black Spirit level 230. So if you're below Black Spirit level 230, you'll also get these abyssal accessory crates, some Akram prophecies, and instead of these supreme versions of the XP scrolls, you'll just get the red ones. So you can see the Supreme XP. The Supreme one obviously gives more XP, but these rewards are a lot better just because you get the Flame and the Embers. So something else that you can get are also these red beans. This is unique for your crafting, so you can craft new meals that'll either give your workers more food, or you can craft meals that'll give you more life experience, which I really like that, but some people think it's useless. But to each their own. So with all of that being said, circling back to these embers and these hearts, these are really, really good because they're used to craft Dawnveil Gear. This will be via craft, but you don't actually need that many of them. So again, you can get the embers by completing the difficulties for your first time each time, but then also just as a drop from completing this in general. There is also a weekly task where if you do 5 of the shrines, you'll get another ember. So just kind of keep that in mind. Make sure that you're doing 5 a week, since that is your limit anyways. This is going to be really good. But again, circling back to the Dawnveil Gear, the Dawnveil Gear is basically an eternal item, so it's a better version of the Chaos Gear. So it's definitely an upgrade. No matter what, it's an upgrade. But you'll need 5 flames of Hongik, 10 Chaos Jewels, 30 Acrid just to get your weapon. And then also you can do the same for your gloves, where you'll need 2 flames of Hongik, 4 Chaos Jewels, and 30 Acrid. So these are really, really good. They're definitely a CP boost to you. So make sure that you're doing this and try to get them. It is going to be a little bit of a grind, but from what I can tell so far, it's not going to take that long. To make one of these flames, you only need 30 embers. And I believe like right now I have maybe 16 or so. So obviously I have 17. I have a lot just from completing the difficulty for the first time, but I'm starting to get them more as drops, especially the higher that the difficulty goes. So once you've crafted this item, what you can do is just go to the other one below it, and then you'll pretty much just be fusing your new item with what you're currently wearing, and that will transfer all of your memory imprints, your enchantments, your crystals, and your enhancement levels. So if you already have a +8, you don't really have to worry about what I'm going to talk about next. So as you can see, like for my character, at least for my main, I have +8. So once I get it, it's going to be perfectly fine. I don't really have to do much of anything else to it. But if you don't have a +8, you can always make it into an Umbral Chaos Gear. So you'll need +7, and then you can do like the normal thing that you do for this. I'm not going to go into detail on this, but I just kind of wanted to let you know that these new items you can always turn into this to pretty much start working on an air quotes guaranteed +8. But with all that being said, that's pretty much everything that I had for this one. Please let me know what your thoughts are on the new continent, and also just let me know how you're enjoying it so far. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and then ask them in the comments down below, or join the Discord server and ask me there. Just some quick heads up and reminders. I'll be doing a giveaway soon for the month of October where 5 people can win all-inclusive chests, and then also I'll be making videos showcasing the full tales from the Land of the Morning Light, so just kind of be on the lookout for those if you're interested in it. But with all that being said, if you enjoy this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate your support, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.